Well, greetings and welcome to another episode of Lightbulb Moments. We are glad you're with us today, and let's get started. So, I want to first of all give a shout out to our sponsors, which include Lightheart Sanders and Zenoti. Thanks for helping to put this forum on, and also thanks to all of you for spending your precious AT&M with us. Attention, time, but no money required. Whether you're joining us live, which is typically every other Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central Time, or watching the YouTube or listening to the podcast, we're glad you're tuning in. We got a great guest today, which I'll get to in a moment, and we're going to get into the subject of AI, and obviously a hot topic. And I'm going to be super excited to bring Thanh Pham to the mic and the camera in just a couple moments here. Before I do that, I want to go through a couple of updates, calendar-related updates, as well as some opportunities to be part of some challenges. So a reminder that we have announced our theme for the fill, which is and, which celebrates the fact that life is not either or, but really more and. And that really comes in people and profit, technology and touch, head and heart. So this is a theme that we're going to explore during the conference with our guests, activities, all of that. So we're super excited about the theme, and we'd love to see you there if you are not registered. I believe we are getting down to the wire in terms of number of tickets left, so sign up. All right, we also have something coming up in the second quarter of this year, which is a 17% growth challenge, which is also sponsored by Forrest. And what that really is designed to do is look at a 13-week period and challenge stylists, massage therapists, estheticians, and nail techs, all to increase their sales by 17% by moving two simple metrics: client count and average ticket. Now, we've done national growth challenges in the past. The most recent one we had 564 people from 50 salons, and 290 people got at least 70% growth. And the average person increased their client count by 3 and increased their average ticket by, I believe it was about $4. And ultimately, each individual on an annualized basis had an additional $17,316 of sales, which collectively on an annualized basis was almost $10 million annualized. So anyway, if you want information on how to sign up, I'm sure someone put that in the chat right now. We do have a cap on the number of companies that we're including, actually the number of locations we're including. So you can get more information on that. All right, so that's really what I have in terms of announcements. What else do we have in terms of announcements? I think that's really about it, folks. So let's do this. Let's now bring Thanh to the mic and the camera. And joining us from Austin, Texas, here he is. Good morning. How are you today?
Good to see you, Tom. Happy to be here.
Yeah, good to see you too, Thanh. Thanks for being my guest. Let me give you a proper introduction with a read of your bio, okay? It might take a minute, folks, but I think it's important to know who we're listening to here. Okay, so Thanh is an entrepreneur, investor, and AI operator based in Austin, Texas. He's best known as the founder of Asian Efficiency. Interesting name. We're going to have to unpack that a little bit later. A productivity and performance company that has helped tens of thousands of professionals build better systems for work and life over the past decade. Today, Thanh focuses on helping founders, executives, and operators become AI native. He designs and implements practical AI workflows, agents, and decision systems to save time, increase leverage, and improve strategic clarity. I'm going to abbreviate the rest of it because I think we could be on here a long time reading your bio here. Your work spans custom AI implementations, workshops, advisory. Also, Than's a prolific community builder and capital connector. You got to tell me what a capital connector is. We'll come back to that. hosts curated events, private dinners, and workshops that bring together founders, investors, and operators, earning him the nickname of the human router. Okay, now obviously I'm reading some of this for the first time, even though I've gotten to know you a little bit, but this is good stuff. He sits at the intersection of systems, thinking, emerging technology, and relationship driven business. Tan speaks and teaches globally on productivity, AI powered decision making, and how modern leaders can design leverage into their work without burning out. There you go.
Thank you for introducing me here.
So you caught my attention here. What is a capital connector?
So I live in Austin, Texas. I've been here for over a decade. And when I first moved here, I didn't really know any people here. I knew one couple. And when I first moved here, they ended up moving back to Florida, where they're originally from, because they started having kids. And so I really didn't know anybody. And I decided that I'm going to start making new friends. And so I started hosting a lot of dinner parties and events. And over time, my network of people that I knew in town grew and grew and grew. And I started making introductions to people when they came to my events. And I said, hey, here's a founder, here's an investor. You two should definitely meet because I think there's some opportunity here. And I did this just for fun. And over time, this kind of became like a side hustle in a different advisory firm that I have now, where I make introductions for people. And that's where the capital connection comes in, where I try to bring founders together and then introduce them to the right investors so that they can launch their business or expand their business. And it's been a fun thing to do.
Hence the name human router, then, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. So people started giving me this nickname of the human router, the person who's always connecting people to other people. And that this kind of came as a byproduct of me just hosting a lot of events, which selfishly I wanted to do because I wanted to meet more people. And I thought instead of me going out to different events, why don't I host events and bring people that I want to have in my circle or in my life come to these? And that was kind of like the spurt of everything that I do nowadays.
Well, our connection is through Chris Murphy, who's an Austin-based salon owner. Two locations, I believe he has down there. And Chris is just a great guy. And I know you worked with Chris for many years behind the scenes, and I could see Chris's interest in technology and his passion for it many, many years ago. Little did I know that you were the guy behind the scenes with him. So
Yeah, so I started a company back in 2011 called Asian Efficiency, and it started off as a passion project. This is when I don't know if you remember those days where blogging was the rage, where everyone started a blog, and I was definitely one of those people. And I just started publicly writing about goal setting, time management, productivity, all the things I was studying and learning from others. And it accidentally took off, where the New York Times and other major publications started writing about my pieces. And I started getting emails from people every day saying, hey, Tan, I love your material. Do you offer any sort of consulting or coaching? Do you have any programs? And I said, oh, no, this is just for fun. Like, this is just a hobby. And you probably start to see a recurring theme in my life. There's a lot of things I just do for fun and as hobbies, and they actually accidentally turned into a business. And Asian Efficiency was one of the first examples of this. And so Chris Murphy, our mutual friend who introduced us, was an early reader of my blog and then became a customer. And we've been connected for over 10 years. So when I first moved to Austin, he came to one of my events. And then recently he came to one of my in-person AI workshops that I teach here in Austin, where I help people go from being a beginner or intermediate user of AI to becoming an advanced user in one day. And Chris was really happy with what he learned and said, "Hey, you need to go speak at this conference that I go to." And he ended up introducing me to the founders of the conference. And then that's how you saw me on stage, and that's how we kind of like originally got connected, and then really got connected afterwards when Chris introduced us. And yeah, Chris has just been a great guy. And I think he's just a good example of how when you do good work and people see it, they love to introduce people to other people who should meet. And that's how we are here today.
so you spoke at Serious Business in January, and you did a short main stage segment. Then you had a breakout, and I wasn't able to go to the breakout, but it really, my understanding is that it was really marketing related, and in particular, how you fill seats, essentially. Um, Hard to summarize. I don't know whether it was an hour or hour and a quarter breakout, but what was on a high level? What were some of your key points that you covered in your breakout for those that weren't there, like myself?
Yeah, so a lot of people who were at the conference, Serious Business, they are salon owners and a big portion of your audience here. And I'm sure, as everyone knows, filling seats is one of the most important things you can do. And that's something I've been doing a lot as an event producer myself, selling tickets, filling seats, kind of the same idea. And in order to fill seats, you have to have marketing. If you don't do any form of marketing, it's hard for you to fill seats consistently. If you just rely on word of mouth, if you just rely on referrals, you can still build a great business, but it's less predictable. And I think one of the key things to having sanity in your life and the business that thrives and grows is that you have some sort of predictable system in place that allows you to grow your business. And I think for salons, that's consistently filling seats. And so marketing is like the number one driver for that. And during my breakout session, I showed how you can use different AI tools to make marketing a lot easier. And one of the things that is possible now that wasn't possible literally 2 months ago is showing an image or a photo that you took and then manipulating it or adjusting it so that it's ready to go for publishing. So, for example, I figured out that a major pain point for a lot of stylists is they'll take a photo of a before and after of a client's and guess what? Maybe the background isn't as pristine as you would like it to be. There's hair on the floor, there's a bunch of cables, maybe there's other people in the background. And if you ever try to edit your photos yourself, you know how much of a struggle that is. It could take an hour or two. Then you're trying to line it up perfectly. Maybe the lighting wasn't that great, even though the transformation you offer to your client was amazing and you had a happy client. But then the photo isn't usable, which is an unfortunate situation. And I think that's a huge asset. And most people, when I ask them during the breakout session, how many photos do you have that fit this description of he had an amazing transformation, but it's not publishable because of X, Y, and Z, hair on the floor, cables, and so on. And everyone raised their hand and said, oh my gosh, I have like hundreds, if not thousands of these kinds of photos. And I said, okay, let me show you what you can do. So I showed them how you can upload a photo to Gemini. And Gemini is kind of like a competitor to ChatGPT, where I think it's much better for images and for video. And so I showed them, hey, upload this photo, use a really simple prompt. You can say something along the lines of, hey, I want you to remove the cords and the hair on the floor so that I can publish this on social media. And then within 20 seconds, the AI will remove the cords in the background, remove the hair on the floor, and now you have a perfect photo ready to go that you can publish. So it removes that initial friction for people to post on social media, even though they have all the assets, all the things that they have already created. Now that turns into something that you can actually use, and now if you do that twice a day, 2 times a week, however you would like to post. When you put your body of work out there and people can see it, you are going to get more customers. You are going to fill more seats. And I think the biggest struggle for a lot of stylists is that they don't publish enough. They don't put stuff out there enough, even though they're doing amazing work.
So certainly image, and it caused me to go into my photos, and for those that are visually seeing, so this is a headshot that was taken to me at Serious Business, and you could see there's glare like right underneath my eyes. It was actually a little harder to remove that glare than I thought it was going to be. So maybe I thought I was using Gemini for that, but super slick, super quick, and a great practical aspect of AI for marketing. What else from a marketing standpoint other than image enhancement?
So I showed another example of how you can turn images into videos. And I think, as we all know, especially on Instagram and TikTok and other platforms, video is such a big driver for views and contents. And nowadays, what we can do with the recent releases of all these different models, such as VO31, which is made by Google, we can now upload a photo of a client or yourself and
Mhm.
then turn that into an animated video. So, for example, I showcase on stage how I went to an Instagram account of a dry bar, I believe, and I took a random photo of a client that they posted on their Instagram, and I said, "Hey, let's take a screenshot of this, upload it to this platform called Hixfield." So Hixfield is a video platform where you can use AI models for creating videos. So it's spelled as Higgs field, so Higgs field. And I showed them, hey, let me upload this photo and show a transformation of the client when they came in to the dry bar and had a great experience. And so it turned it into an animated video where the client was smiling, and I said because they're in Austin, they did the whole Longhorns thing, and it made a really fun video for people to see that wow, you can turn a static photo or an image into an animated video that looks hyper realistic. Now, obviously there are some concerns about what's real, what's not real, what's possible, what's not possible. And I always tell people, hey, if you are going to use a client, you should always have their approval to use their likeness and image, right? And if you don't have that, I don't recommend that you do that. However, you can also use your own photos of yourself. And maybe you use that for creating B-roll for your videos, or you use that with yourself in the video. So now you can turn photos that are static into assets that are video, which can be higher engagements on your social media platforms, more views. And if you have some creativity and desire to make more videos, you can then create from one photo, literally 20 videos if you would like.
Hmm. So let's talk about AI for, let's move away from marketing. Unless is there anything like right off the bat from serious business that you shared that you want to highlight before I move over to some other uses of AI, for example, for automation?
I think for marketing, yeah, images and videos is the big unlock for a lot of people now. And I think also, for example, I showcase how having more five-star reviews will be extremely helpful for your business. And anything you can do to increase the odds of getting five-star reviews is a big win. So one of the insights I actually had from Chris Murphy from talking to him was how to get more five-star reviews. And one of the things he's learned is that the most important person to drive five-star reviews is not the person at the front desk, it's not the owner, it's the stylist, the person working with the clients. If you can make it easy for them to nudge their clients to leave a review, that's how you're going to get most of your reviews. And so when you start thinking about that, you can start thinking about what can you do to automate this? What can you do to nudge your stylist to go, hey, would you mind every morning just texting your people, or maybe the day after, or the night of? Like, what can you do to make it really easy for them to do this? And I think once you start monitoring your five-star reviews and start posting about it, that's how you start getting the word out as well. So I wanted to mention that because I know five-star reviews are so important in your industry that anything you can do to get more of them and highlight them is a good thing.
Yeah, these are great examples, Tan. Yeah, I love it. So, all right, let's get into automation here for a moment, and how AI can actually do a lot of different things. I mean, one thing you and I discussed as a pain point for a salon is the we'll put it in the category of non-service payroll, and making sure that you're right sized. You have enough, not enough people, but not too many people. So you're able to create a great experience for the client. So, and it is a pain point for salons from a spending standpoint. Costs keep going up, but at the same time, the technology keeps getting better. So how do how can AI help in the automation as it relates, for example, with front desk?
Yeah, you and I had a great conversation about this the other day where um, if you look at a P&L, a profit and loss statement of a salon, there's a lot of things on there that maybe don't directly contribute to the revenue of a business. And I think those are the cost centers that you always want to be very mindful of. And I love your term of non-service payroll, right? So people at the front desk, for example, are maybe not directly contributing to the revenue, but they're still an important part of the business, right? When they welcome people, they get them in, they get them excited, they check them out, they accept the payments and everything. Like these are all important things there, but also they have to take on phone calls and making sure that bookings are happening or rescheduling is happening as well. And so one of the things that is possible now with AI is it can actually take on phone calls and it can help with scheduling, it can help with rebookings, it can deal with cancellations. And so when your front desk person is going off for lunch for 45 minutes, if during that window of time, there's like six, seven, eight phone calls coming in, but you didn't pick up the phone because your person was away, that's missed revenue. That's missed opportunity right there, right? Whether it's a cancellation, whether it's a rebooking, whether that's actually new clients coming in. And so when you have an AI agent monitoring your phone 24/7, they could technically call 4 in the morning if they really wanted to, and then still get a booking in that day, right? So you're not limited to the operating hours of your business. Now you can actually operate 24/7. Plus, it might cost you $25 a month to run this phone system. And so if you think about the cost savings there, that's tremendous, right? Which is minimizing the non-service payroll. But also what it's going to change is the work of the person at the front desk. So it's not that we're trying to replace them. If
Yeah.
anything, we're trying to enhance them so that they can do more important work or more work that is human touch that would help the experience of the salon. So, for example, checking people in consistently, making sure that when people are needed during their site visit, that they're there to help out if as needed. So their role is going to be changing and evolving over time as well, where it's less about the mechanical things of dealing with the phone and with email. Like the AI agents can actually do all of that very fast and efficiently. And all they might do is just quality check that the email going out was the right email, or if it's pre-drafted, that they do the final send before it goes out to our clients. And so their role is evolving in the sense of quality control, but then also doing the stuff that's only human on site.
So I want to stay away from mentioning any particular vendors or products, but I would just say as just a generic comment is that uh, there are some POS systems. I think there's maybe a couple that have now embedded AI agents into their platform to help with taking phone calls. And then there's also some companies that are emerging that are partnering with POS companies that decide not to do it themselves. Um, and but there's a cost to these, and it's not $25 a month. It's a little bit more than that. Um, where do you see that going? I mean, I'm imagining that costs are going to go down, and the proliferation is just going to go up. It's going to be much more accessible.
Yeah, costs are definitely going down. Compute power right now is something that we have to pay for essentially. And that's where oftentimes the monthly fees come in because they're most of it is the compute power that we power these agents to do. And for those people that don't know, think of agents as like digital employees that you have. That's the best way I can describe them. They just work for you 24/7. You coach them, you train them, you teach them as if it was a real person, except you don't have to feed them or anything other than electricity and compute power. And so um, the cost is going down. And I remember those days, Tom, when we were first getting mobile phones, we had to worry about how many people we could be calling on a monthly basis, how often we could text them. And then I remember we had like this whole thing of like top five. If you had people in your top five, you could message them unlimited. But anybody outside of that, you have to pay for. And nowadays, we don't even think about that anymore. We just text anybody we ever want all over the world because that cost has gone down so much that it's pretty much negligible. And the same thing is going to happen with AI over time. Right now, it's somewhat expensive in terms of we actually have to be mindful of how much we're spending every month in terms of usage. But over time, that is going to come down as well as we build more infrastructure and data centers and everything. And so it's going to be more affordable for everybody. And I think one of the advantages the salon owners can have now is taking advantage of this technology while it's being rolled out so that you can start getting ahead in your industry, right? And I use the example at Serious Business, which was if you remember the days when booking your appointments online was an optional thing, it was kind of like a nice to have. Nowadays, that's table stakes. In the past, people had to call in or do a walk-in, and booking online was like a nice bonus and it'd be great. Nowadays, we want people to be booking online as much as possible to save time, save cost, and everything. The same thing is going to happen in the future. And if you want to get really futuristic a little bit down the line, what I think will happen over time is you will actually text your assistant. You say, "Hey, I want to book a session with Tom, or I would like to have a session sometime Friday next week if we can," and we'll actually book it for you. And it will be like agent to agent talking to each other, and you're just like interfacing with texting or something like that. And then everything else is done in the background. And so that's probably where we're heading towards. And you won't even think about it.
Yeah, we had a great question from Tammy. Good morning, Tammy. And the question is, can it do outbound confirmation calls?
Yes, it can. Yeah, it can do outbound confirmation calls. So, for example, if right now, if you think about the restaurant industry, oftentimes you get a text message, right, that says, "Hey, it seems like you're booking or you're booked for tomorrow at dinner for 7:30. Reply 1 if you're coming, 9 if you're not coming." You can do that, with your salon now too, but also you can do that with phone calls. You can just call the people and go, "Hey, thank you so much for booking with X, Y, and Z. We're looking forward to having you tomorrow. Could you double confirm that you're coming?" And you can take it a step further and do a voicemail drop if you wanted to, which is the idea that you actually don't call the phone, you just leave a voicemail right away. That's a technology piece that's available now too. So these are all things that are available. Yep.
All right, here's some other questions for you. Can AI meaningfully improve retail sales in a high-end salon?
I guess it depends how you want to utilize it. So, for example, I think managing inventory is a piece that could be automated.
Mhm.
And so you limit the amount of waste or how much you order. And so it improves your cash flow significantly. Nobody wants to offer a product and then find out that the product is not in stock, right? So that's one thing that's relatively easy to do with AI. I think another thing is if you use a phone system or a texting system, it can actually analyze all your phone call transcripts and texting transcripts and then offer suggestions to make it more efficient or more effective. So, for example, if you have a company policy of how you like to interact with your customers, you have certain values, it can actually detect if your staff is doing that. And if it's not, then maybe we can offer some coaching to improve that experience for the customers. So, those are some ideas that you can do that with. And I think product recommendations is another one. So, for example, let's say you just finish, a coloring session, and then afterwards you get a personalized campaign sent to you saying, "Hey, thank you so much for coming in. Oh, by the way, here's some great products that I think would be really helpful for you. Here are some links to consider." And then this can all be personalized one to one now with AI.
I'm also wondering can AI improve the consultative process?
How does the consultative process work right now?
Generally it'd be very beginning of the appointment, and a question could be, tell me about your hair, what you like, what you don't like. So it's fact finding. So before the appointment is started, they're on the same page in terms of what's going to be done. That's a very, very rudimentary description of a consultative process,
Yeah.
but it's key to the whole process. And I've got to think that AI could help with the
Oh,
consultation.
yeah. I mean, the vision of AI is so good right now, where people are, for example, uploading X-ray scans and different photos, and it can find all sort of medical issues. And so the vision has gone so good now that I bet you if you uploaded a photo of your current hair and what you look like right now, it could do the consultation on the fly with you. And so
Mm,
you can now interact with the tool ahead of time before you come in so that your stylist, when they start working with the client, they already have all the prep ahead of time and kind of get started that way.
yeah. How could AI improve client retention? Anything
Oh,
come to mind?
yeah. in so many ways. I think client retention can be done in many different strategies. So, for example, being in constant communication, I think, is one of the best things you can do. Nobody wants to have a client walk in, they had a great experience, but then not stay in touch with them whatsoever, right? And you can
Okay.
do this in multiple channels. So, for example, one would be have them follow you on social media, have them follow you on all the channels where you post content. That's a great way to keep them on top of mind. Content production, if that's a bottleneck for you, that's something that AI can tremendously help you with, kind of like how I mentioned earlier with the photos and videos and making that a lot easier. Also, for the stylist, how can we empower the stylist to keep nudging their top clients to come back or offer tips and guidance? And how do we make it easy for them to post content as well? Because they have their own personal brands. And I think any salon that can empower them to post more content and make it easy for them to do so is a great thing to do. I think email marketing, even though we're living in the age of AI, email marketing is an extremely valuable channel to stay on top of mind for a lot of people. And then also text messaging, right? How nice would it be if we nudged our clients once a month to say, "Hey, it's been 3 weeks since your last visit. Um, we have some great discounts or specials coming in right now. We would love to see you." And but also you can make it more engaging in different ways. Offer promotions, discounts, new services, or exciting announcements. So the more you can leverage different channels, I think the more opportunities you have to keep your clients in your orbit and on top of mind. And if there's one thing I've seen in business is that the more you are on top of mind of people, the more business you will generate.
Yeah, well spoken. All right, I want to move into maybe some of the risks or ethical type questions, or in the case of, I shared with you a conversation I had that with Candace from our team, who I told her you're going to be on the guest, and she, you were going to be guest, and she loved your breakout. It was very complimentary. She said, Tom, though, I'm having a moral crisis with AI right now. And she shared with me that members of her community, it might even be a family member who's an author, and who said that it's taking away his zest for life, just because of basically the writing these days. I mean, that's probably one of the most common, most pedestrian ways that we're all using AI is for writing. And she said that, she became depressed by it. And she's a very happy, optimistic person, by the way, Candace. And she said that she ended up writing all her Valentine's Day cards by hand, and did a poem that she did not use AI to generate. And she said it made her feel human again, and it was nice. What's your
Yeah.
reaction to that?
I think that's a great example of how the tools that we have available are, first of all, optional. We don't have to use them. And
Mhm.
then also, I think if we just use the AI tools as a replacement of work, I think we're missing some of the value that we can create as humans. So, for example, I still handwrite cards as well. When I do my annual Christmas tradition where I send everybody a written card, I still do that. However, what I will sometimes also do is ask the AI for ideas to make some things a little better. And I think where AI can be extremely helpful and not completely replace us, but be a value add to what we do, is being a really good thought partner. How often do we go to our life partner or our business partner and go, "Hey, I have this idea. What do you think of this? Can we brainstorm about this topic or X, Y, and Z?" And we do this all the time. And AI is actually a really good thought partner for many ideas. So, for example, when I was writing my Christmas notes, I said, "Hey, here's a friend that I have. I haven't talked to him in a while. Give me some ideas of things that I could maybe write to him about." And it gave me some ideas, and I thought, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to pick this one idea that it suggested." And I still wrote down my own note, my own version of it, and could I have done that without AI? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Would have taken more time? Absolutely. That too. would I've maybe been a little bit more frustrated or challenged? I think so too. And I think that's part of the human experience is that we have to deal with challenges and overcome them. And as a, you know, advanced user of AI, I've kind of discovered and learned that we can lower those barriers a little bit more thanks to it being a great thought partner so that we can actually send out more cards that way as well. And so I'm not saying that we're going to completely replace ourselves or replace their work. I think we can eliminate a lot of the friction around it so that we can actually do the work in many ways that we want to do.
Yeah, you're giving me some good sound bites. Um, Digital employees, thought partners, eliminating friction. You know, you've got some good sound bites that I'm gonna piggyback on when I preview this episode that we had today. All right, I'm looking at the clock here, and I've got some other questions here for you. All right, so let's go out 5 years. And what will the most AI advanced salon look like in 5 years? By the way, everybody, this is not rehearsed, so I'm catching them on the fly here.
So I think the most AI advanced salon will be where if you're the client, you will text the salon and go, "Hey, I want to meet with this stylist. Tell me some options." And it will reply back and go, "Hey, here's when your stylist is available." And then you select, "Hey, I want that time." Great, you're booked. And then you can submit your photos or you can submit ideas of what you want to do with your session. And the AI agent on the other side will be smart enough to know that it can make recommendations for you and also prep the stylist ahead of time to say, hey, here's your client, here's what he or she wants, here's what they would like to have done, here's some samples of work that they've submitted, so that when the stylist walks in or when the client walks in, the stylist is all ready to go, and the whole process is very seamless. Payment is done online. It can be done, ahead of time, after the session is done right away. You get automated follow-ups. And so I think the interfacing of clients getting booked and walking in will be completely done over text messaging. It will not be over email. It will not be done through the phone. It will actually just you talking, texting with it. Or if you want to go even further, I would say drop a voice note. This is what I do a lot is you drop a voice note and say, hey, assistant, I want to book a hair coloring session next Monday. Could you book it with my stylist? Go ahead and do that. And it'll figure out a way to make it happen for you. And it'll report back to you and go, hey, it's booked. Ready to set for Tuesday at 2 o'clock. And it's on your calendar. If you like me to submit any work ahead of time, let me know. I'm happy to do so. And it'll be done in 30 seconds.
I'm sure we can unpack this one for a long time. You know, I'm also thinking of AI mirrors, which is a client of ours from in Winnipeg, won a competition, a Shark Tank type competition, and won funds to create an AI mirror that would allow clients, while they're seated in the chair, try on multiple different looks in real time. So I think we're set for an exciting future. So let me give you a final question here, and actually, it might be the second final question. So if I'm a premium salon or spa now listening, what's the one thing I should do in the next 30 days?
What you should do in the next 30 days is play around with the image and video models of Gemini, because the more you can think about application and awareness about what AI is and what it can do, that's how you start to unlock opportunities in your business. Where I see most business owners struggle is they hear about AI, but they don't know what it can actually do. And they've never seen it do different things until they actually play with it themselves. So, as an owner and operator, I would recommend that every single person doesn't become an expert. You don't have to be. But if you just know how to drive the car a little bit, you don't have to become a Formula One race driver whatsoever. However, if you know how to drive the car, you can unlock a lot of utility. Now, you can pick up people from the airport, drop people off at school. You can pick up groceries, you can deliver packages, you can write for ride sharing companies. Like a lot of things start to unlock once you know how to drive the car. And it's the same thing with these AI tools. Once you know how to use it in a basic way, you start to see all these opportunities that you can then use in your business that wasn't possible before because your level of application went up. And as a result, your level of awareness went up as well. And if you do those two things together, you'll start to see all these opportunities in your business where AI can actually come in.
Great answer. Thank you. So, since this podcast is themed Lightbulb Moments, I'm going to ask you a big, broad question in terms of your personal lightbulb moments that you've had. Um, can you think of a major lightbulb moment that you've had in recent years that really defined your future direction? A light bulb moment almost being this sudden realization or this connecting of a bunch of dots at the same time. And anything come to mind?
Yeah. I think
It's a
one
tough
that
one, I
comes to
know.
my mind right away is this is a few years ago. I was so my family was originally from Vietnam, and I went back and I go there maybe every few years or so. And I remember sitting in an alleyway with the family that are friends of my family. And if you think about the average welfare of a family in Vietnam, they live off $400 or $500 a month to support a whole family. It's not a lot of money. But I remember sitting in the alleyway and we're just eating outside and they're cooking, and they were the happiest people. They were just so grateful about their life. They're so grateful about their health. Their kids are doing well in school. Um, and here I was stressing about business, stressing about all the things that are happening in the world when I just had a really pleasant dinner with them and they were just so grateful about the little things that they had. And it was such a good reminder for me to go, hey, when you think about all the problems you might have in your life, they're minuscule when you think about your health that you have, the family members that you have around you, the grandparents that you still might have, or the uncles and aunts that we have, the kids. And when you put that in perspective on a daily basis, you start to realize most problems and things that we deal with on a daily basis are minuscule compared to things that we have in our lives that we can actually be grateful for. And so ever since that moment, I always try to remind myself every morning, as long as I have my health and my family and the people that love me around me, that's all that matters. And everything else can be figured out from there.
That's a good one. Yeah, bravo. Thank you for that. All right, let's everybody give Tan a virtual round of applause. Bravo. Thanks so much. There are a couple questions in the chat. Maybe you can type in there. Someone wants a reminder of what the AI app was, which was Hickenfield, I think. So you can put that in the chat. But anyway, great job today. I'm so glad I invited you. I'll see you in Austin. I'll be down there in about 10 days and we'll sync up down there. But thanks for being such a great guest today. Bravo. Good stuff. And by the way, you should have your $1 million light bulb coming your way, which officially inducts you into the Brain Trust for Lightbulb Moments, and also earns you an invitation to Monday night, May 18th. Put it down on your calendar for a celebration of Lightbulb Moments. So,
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
yes. And Sonia, yes, you can get the recording. We do record all these episodes and store them both on YouTube and on all the typical podcast channels. So, before we wrap up, maybe you should put in the chat the AI app, or maybe you can just say it out loud so Kuhn can get closure on that. Do you want to say it one more time, or are you going to do it in the
Yes,
chat?
it's hicksfield.ai.
Okay, Hicksfield. All right. Uh, all right. Very good, everybody. We will see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for joining us today. And we always love having you on our episodes of Lightbulb Moment. All the best, people. And Tan, once again, thank you.